Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of Papo Jr. This is the Ring Out Podcast, and today I'm going to react to every WWE superstar released in 2024. Where are they now? This video is by SportsKeeda. They do great content on the channel. Go check them out. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button if I deserve it at the end of the video. I'm not going to make you do something right now if you feel like I don't deserve it, but I know I deserve it. But at the same time, you'll be the judge of it. I'm not gonna waste your time. Let's say I'm curious, like the guys like Odyssey Jones, Baron Corbin, who else? Indy Hartwell. I'm not gonna lie. I saw the thumbnail, their thumbnail, and those are the fucking names that first come to mind that got released in 2024. Tegan Knox, Cameron Grimes. I'm curious to know. We'll see what's up. I hope they're doing good, man. I really am hope they're doing good. Odyssey Jones, I heard a lot of bad shit about him. There were cryptic tweets about him being a woman abuser or something like that. And if you're that type of fucking guy, get the fuck out of here then. You don't deserve no fucking fame or fortune, none of that shit. Nah. If you're a woman beater, nah. I ain't gonna waste your time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's play this video. Let's get it.
Every year WWE releases superstars, it's basically clockwork at this point. It's a part of the rotating wheel that never stops, and when some come in, others go out. There were some pretty shocking releases this year, and it wasn't exclusive to the superstars we see on the screen. For example, longtime employee Sue Aitchison was released. If you don't know who she is, she's one of the main names responsible for WWE's partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2019 when she won the Warrior Award. Some of the names whose contracts expired were Becky Lynch, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Ricochet, so they're not counted on this list. A large chunk of the releases tend to happen in the developmental stage, and some of the more prominent names released from NXT include Amari Miller, Zion Quinn, Scripps, formerly known as Reggie, and Gable Steveson. Gable Steveson was signed.
That one is a flop. I felt nothing from this guy the moment they mentioned this dude. The first impression, you gotta make a first impression, bro. And the first impression that I got from this guy, it wasn't it. That dude looked bland. He felt like he was the shit, but they didn't really show like, that he was happy to be there. He just showed like, I'm that guy. I know who I am. Like, bro, nobody knew who you were at that time when they presented you for the first time. Nobody knew who the fuck were you. NCAA wrestling champion. Like, nobody gives a fuck about that shit. The majority of pro wrestling fans, they don't care about that shit. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Nobody knew. I was like, oh well. And just the body language felt like he was like his shit didn't stink or anything. I felt nothing from this guy. And I was right. He wasn't gonna be anything, bro. Like they wasted so much money on this guy, so much time on this guy, and it became a flop, bro. I heard his brother's on NXT, and I'm hearing that he's doing better. I don't know his name because I don't follow NXT, but I did not expect good things from this dude. He was supposed to be the next Kurt Angle. To me, Chad Gable's the next Kurt Angle. They just need to give him the fucking, that push, but not this guy. No. Gable Steveson. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Signed with the hopes
Ain't that Chad right there? The fucking come on, bro.
Being the modern day Kurt Angle, but everything just went downhill and WWE decided to cut their losses with both him and his brother Damon Kemp.
Oh, Damon
This list
Kemp
focuses on the major
But ain't he on NXT? I think
main roster releases in 2024, and we're going to look at what led to them being cut and what they're doing now. Jinder Mahal. 8 years after his return to WWE, Jinder Mahal was released for the second time in 10 years. Being the first WWE champion of Indian descent, his reign in 2017 got a lot of people talking as he shockingly went from an enhancement talent to a main eventer within a week. The WWE Championship run was really the peak of his overall wrestling career, and he was at the right place at the right time.
It was just It was just for the Indian audience. They were trying to do some business over there in India, WWE India. That was all it was. Nobody asked for this. This shit was fucking lame. It was an exciting moment when AJ Styles beat Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship, and it was just for business, bro. I get it. I was like, you know what? It's business. They're doing something in India, but it was a flop. It was a flop. That was his peak. After that, it was over for the guy. It was over for the guy.
WWE, particularly Vince McMahon, was eyeing India as a lucrative market
Exactly.
and pushed for a major name to represent the nation of over 1.3 billion people. Unfortunately, the entire approach was rushed and completely botched, and Mahal had a WWE title reign that can be more accurately described as infamous. Still, he was the 50th man to be recognized as WWE Champion, a feat nobody can take away from him. He had an 8-day reign as United States Champion in 2018, but numerous injury spells kept him out for a while, and in 2024, he shockingly emerged as a world title contender. That and his
Why I don't remember that? That's 2024? I do not remember that shit.
interaction with The Rock would be his last hurrah, and in April, he announced that he was moving on.
That was that day one? I remember that day one. That was day one. But that 2024 going for the maybe it was just that like it was not a memorable fucking, you know. It wasn't, bro. Like it's sad, bro. If you were put on that spot to contend, to compete, was contend the right word? I don't know. I'm bilingual. Give me a fucking break. If you were in that spot to compete for the world championship and that shit is so forget nobody remembers that and that happened last year, that shows a lot that bro, you weren't it cuz you were never it and you will never be it. So I like the fact that once they get released because their first run in the E and the Fed wasn't working out, they go somewhere else and they, fix themselves, they find themselves, they build their own way, their own character, like Cody did, Drew McIntyre did. I don't know about Dolph Ziggler because Nick Nemeth, he's TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but he's not making a lot of noise there, to be honest, bro. Ain't nobody talking about him. Nah. So, and I don't think WWE needs Dolph Ziggler anymore, to be honest. And if he ever comes back, it's to job to somebody. But they don't need him anymore.
On. He's still the Mahara competing on the independent scene, and he's a very busy man. He's been a part of the recently created Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling promotion from former TNA figure Scott D'Amore.
Good.
And is on a bit of a world tour competing in France and having future dates in Australia in 2025.
Great.
He's going to be alongside the two men who helped him become world champions, the Singh brothers, aka the Bollywood Boys. Jinder Mahal has wasted no time in making a name for himself.
Good.
Veer Mahan and Singh.
Good. I'm proud of him. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing because you never know. You never know.
Veer Mahan is one of the most
These
comically
two
bizarre
were
cases on
fucking
this year's
disappointing.
WWE release
They were a
list.
disappointment.
He was
bro.
signed to WWE after his baseball career ended and was a Performance Center creation. It only took 3 years to make his main roster debut,
Veer is
and he aligned
coming
with
for like
Jinder
how
Mahal
fucking
in a
long? Like
short-lived
8,
faction.
9 weeks.
Seeing some singles potential in him,
Straight with the
WWE
same shit.
separated him from Jinder Mahal and fellow Indian star Shanky in the 2021 draft.
Shanky.
This was when the Veer is Coming promos began, and it followed the same playbook as the Emelina in 2016 and 17. The Veer is Coming turned out to be an inside joke from people within WWE, and it was only after WrestleMania 38 when he finally returned and took out the Mysterios. He defeated both Rey and Dominic Mysterio in separate singles matches, and it seemed like a promising start, but he completely vanished into thin air before returning to NXT months later. He reunited with his old partner Sangha, who is also a part of this list. They once again flipped back onto the main roster and got drafted to Raw together, but after an absence and an unsuccessful set of matches, they were cut from WWE. Fightful reported that it was due to the budget cuts, and Sangha commented in a video on social media that WWE wants to enter the Indian market while not giving Indian superstars any opportunities to shine.
Which is
Both
fucked
members
up.
of
How you
Indus
expect
are
to?
now back in their home country of India, where they're connecting
it's not.
with their roots again while maintaining top physical shape. Xia Li.
It was just. It
We wanna say
wasn't
that Xia
working,
Li's
man. It wasn't working. I don't want to talk down on the Indian people, but it just wasn't working. Like they need to keep scouting for that. If they want to, you know, be in touch with that fan base, they really need to scout for that right Indian wrestler to represent India. Jinder Mahal wasn't it. Close, but wasn't it. Nobody was feeling him. Pierre Mahan, they tried. It wasn't working at all either. They gotta find that one Indian wrestler that can really represent that country, and then also people can be behind all worldwide, not just India, worldwide. You need the people behind that one character, that one wrestler, one character. Not just do it for them, but it's not working over here. And then if you see that it's not working over here, you're not gonna put time and effort into that wrestler. It's just not gonna work, bro. It needs to work here to represent them. If it works here, it will work worldwide. Definitely.
release was one of the saddest ones in 2024, but in
I
reality,
feel like
she's
Xia
doing
Li didn't get
perfectly
a
fine right
chance
now. Her 7-year
at
tenure
all.
ended in WWE, with Xia Li becoming the first Chinese woman to compete in WWE.
I feel like
she also made
she didn't get
history
a
by
chance
becoming
at
the
all,
first
man.
Chinese wrestler to enter the Royal Rumble match. It felt like she was one of the most underutilized women on the roster, and she was
didn't know
unfortunately
how to
grouped with
book her
Jinder
at
Mahal
all.
and Indus Sher in the budget cuts. Her journey was a really hard one. She moved across the world to the United States from a completely different country and culture, China. She didn't even speak English when she arrived in the United States, and she made her way while learning a language drastically different from her own, and adapted and made friends along the way. There seems to be a lot of respect for her within the WWE locker room, with Xia Li revealing that Becky Lynch went out of her way to help her and have a small program in 2023. She now goes by the name Lei Ying Li and is signed to TNA, a company that has a great track record in handling their female superstars. She also made her debut for Game Changer Wrestling and is looking to solidify herself as a big name in professional wrestling. We wouldn't be surprised to see her performing all around the world soon. Cameron Grimes.
Good, man.
When Cameron Grimes was
She's
released
still
a few
working.
days
That's what's up.
after Xia Li in April 2024, he posted a heartbreaking video where he broke down in tears. It was a painful one to watch if you were or
This was
are
this one was not fair to Cameron Grimes. This dude just wanted to work. He's a good worker. He can talk. He can. He proved it in NXT, man. He had a good gimmick that he had a lot of stock in some crypto, GameStop or some shit like that, and he made a lot of money. And it was entertaining, man. And then they didn't give him a chance in the main roster, bro. And then there were, news that he was complaining and telling the people in the back that he just want to work. He just want to work. And management was just like, yo, this kid is annoying. Let's get rid of this guy. I'm like, damn, how you gonna talk down on somebody that just want to work, bro? Like you give him anything. He just want to be on TV. That's not fair to Cameron Grimes, bro. For real.
a Cameron Grimes fan, because he spoke from the heart about just how much he wanted to work and just how much he wanted to be a WWE superstar. He ended it on a positive note by thanking his fans and saying there was a fire lit under his backside to go somewhere else and prove to WWE why they were wrong.
Yep.
He was a big hit in NXT.
Man, I don't know where he at right now. All he talks
especially
about
when
is
he was
Baltimore
in that
Ravens.
Awesome storyline with Ted DiBiase and LA Knight. Technically speaking, Cameron Grimes is the last ever $1 million champion, a prize title held by some of the greats in the wrestling industry. He further cemented his success by having a 2-month run as the North American champion. He was one of the superstars most negatively affected by the shift to NXT 2.0, with the introduction of some major names like Braun Breaker. He still managed to reinvent himself a little bit and enjoyed consistent TV time, but he was getting increasingly out of place in NXT after over 3 years, and it was time for him to move to the main roster.
I enjoy that
The
shit.
issues began after he joined the main roster, however. He beat Baron Corbin in 6 seconds on his debut, only to get shoved to the side with occasional appearances and dark matches. WWE sent him packing with a loss to Braun Breaker, and his fate ended up being that of a guy who WWE had no creative plans for. Still, he had a mission to bounce back, and that's exactly what he's doing now under his real name, Trevor Lee. That fire under his backside has led him to becoming a busy man. He's doing great on the independent scene and has wrestled 20 matches since his WWE release, even heading to Canada and Australia to compete. Trevor Lee is in the best physical shape of his life, and it looks like he's going to be fine outside of WWE.
Good for
He has a
him,
mature
man.
outlook on the lack of TV time he faced on WWE's main roster.
That's not now.
He said that he had to pester writers every
Miss-
week to get a spot, and admitted that the writers have a
But he already
stressful
did.
job trying
Well,
to
he had a
figure everything
haircut?
out. He also acknowledged that it's not
Why are you
easy to
showing
get a
old
slot in a
videos
2-hour
of this?
show,
This is
and it shouldn't
old.
be either because it's WWE and it's meant to be the top of the top. Ultimately, he believes that he didn't take the opportunities that were given to him well enough, and he views it as a learning lesson for himself in the future.
So they gave you
At
some
31
chances.
years
You
old,
didn't
he
take them.
essentially is in his early stages of his wrestling career
On some
and has a
Ricky
long and
Starch,
big
was it
future
Mero
ahead of
shit?
him. We wouldn't be surprised to see him back in a few years. Odyssey Jones.
Wow.
Odyssey Jones is the
This
sole
guy.
exception on this list because WWE was forced to release him even though they were pushing him on television. He had one of the weirdest WWE runs on this list.
Yes.
He was in NXT for less than 2 years and was featured as a part of weekly television before an injury in 2022 made him miss most of the year. In 2023, he was drafted to Monday Night Raw and vanished from the face of the earth.
Got
The only
drafted
time Odyssey
twice.
Jones was mentioned by fans was a running gag over his pointless draft from NXT to Raw. It took over a year for WWE to finally have something for him, and it was a good spot to be in. The ever-growing dissent between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods worsened when Kofi recruited Odyssey Jones to be on their side. He wasn't meant to replace Big E, but that was the story being told between Woods and Kingston. But just as Odyssey Jones was getting momentum and finally in the spotlight, domestic violence allegations against him resurfaced. As per WWE's policy against domestic violence, they instantly cut ties with him, and there hasn't been a word from him since.
That's a shame, bro, because I have faith in this guy, man. When he came to supposedly join the New Day, that shit, he made a great first impression, bro. The fans were like, oh, snap. When he picked up AOP at the same time on some side slam shit, that was fantastic. I'm like, oh, okay. I was into this storyline with the New Day, and he was supposed to be on that New Day reunion, bro, that 10th anniversary. But then those domestic allegations came, and they let him go right away. They were like, "Fuck this guy, bro."
It's hard to imagine that he'll be back in WWE if the allegations turn out to be true. Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell felt like she was just another name on the roster, which is a shame because she wasn't. She was making waves before she signed with WWE in 2019, and this was despite the fact that she was only 3 years into her wrestling career. Her run in NXT was a lot more enjoyable than the main roster because she was consistently associated with big names in the brand like Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. Together with Austin Theory, they were the way, and it was an enjoyable but short-lived run they had together, even winning the NXT women's titles. Nobody expected her to be the one to dethrone Roxanne Perez, but she at her moment enjoyed an impressive lineage of NXT women's champions. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to last for her, as an injury forced her to relinquish the title and give her the shortest reign in the history of the NXT women's title. Her main roster run never took off, and it seems like even Candice LeRae benefited and got more TV time after Indy was released. The biggest problem is what we mentioned in the beginning. WWE built up such a strong women's roster that Indy Hartwell was just going to be another name. But she has a lot more to offer, and in hindsight, 2019 was probably not the best time for her to be in WWE. But at 28 years old, she has a long way to go. Considering how she was only released later in the year, she's currently going through a 3-month no-compete clause, and we presume that she's going to be back out there killing it. TNA looks like it would be a good fit for her, but whatever happens, she's likely going to return to WWE someday as a completely changed star.
I don't know. I mean, I hope so, because her first run, I wasn't out. To be honest, I wasn't feeling her. It's like I didn't. I wanted to give her a chance, but it's like every time I seen her on my television, it's just like you were too bland for me. You know, like I don't know what a lot of people saw in her. Like push indie, push indie. I'm like, why? Even during the NXT days, I was watching. I'm like, I wasn't feeling her at all. The only thing I enjoyed about her was him and Loomis, Dexter Loomis. They were a couple and they got married. That was an enjoyable, little segment they had in their wedding and stuff. But that's it. Main roster, they didn't give her a chance. So they didn't even help me like be more invested in her. People were like, give her a chance, give her a chance. And I just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Then she turned heel. I was like, okay. With Candace, I was like, okay, maybe they're working something here. But then it's just like, I think they let her go right there. That fucking no compete clause. That shit is annoying, bro. TNA, pick her up if they can. And yeah, I would love to see a different side of a character development in another promotion. Like hopefully, and I could see them bringing her back, but she really gotta like make noise in the wrestling industry for the women. Like Indy is killing it. Her name is this now, but she'll be Indy Hartwell again if she comes back, and she can't go back to what she was doing before. 'Cause she was bland. She was like she looked like a lost puppy sometimes. Every time when she was in the ring, it's like she didn't know what the fuck to do. She was way more careful on the next move. I don't know. Like hope she kills it in the indies. Indie. And yeah, TNA signed her. TNA does a great job with the women. Hope she does great, man.
Tegan Knox. Tegan Knox's
This is
situation
another
might be
one.
the only one on this list apart from Odyssey Jones where it's hard to blame WWE. Her release seemed to be a matter of when
Too
and not
much
if.
injuries,
The
man.
Welsh star garnered a bit of a cult following throughout her time in NXT and WWE. People seemed to recognize her talent, but numerous spells on the sidelines led to her getting tagged as injury prone, and WWE cut her out quickly in 2021 when it looked like they were releasing their whole roster. She was brought back under Triple H, but it hardly felt like she had an opportunity to shine on the main roster. She had a brief alliance with Natalya, but nothing came of it, and she spent most of 2024 kind of just sitting and catering. It was a shame that her second release came just 2 weeks before her birthday, but there really was nothing being done with her, and she seems eager to move on as well. She was advertised for an event in her home country Wales in December despite being in the midway point of her release clause, but issues that weren't specified led to her appearance being cancelled. She will be a free agent again as of late January 2025 and is looking to get back into the thick of it. Baron Corbin. The most notable WWE release in 2024 was Baron Corbin, and it wasn't even close. For years, Baron Corbin had the unfortunate reputation of being just another guy.
This was the
and a
best
villain who
version
people
of
wanted to
Baron
see
Corbin.
just
A lot
go
of people
away.
like the
But
broke
behind the
Baron.
scenes, he had a great attitude and grew over the years. After falling short of expectations when
It
he was
was
pushed in
entertaining, but
2017, he
Lone
still
Wolf,
managed
this
to
was the
maintain
great,
strong roles
best
in WWE,
Baron
although
Corbin
to
right
many,
here.
he wasn't hitting the mark. His NXT run proved to be a career
like-
resurgence, and we saw a side of him that
But like once he cut his hair, that's it. That's it for him. He did not recover after that. That, in my opinion, broke Baron was the best part. The best thing he did after he cut his hair. But the Lone Wolf, that was the best fucking Baron Corbin in NXT.
was never seen in WWE before. It took him quite a few years to get there, but it looked like he was finally ready to be taken seriously as a superstar on the main roster. The move to the main roster turned out to be a complete and utter waste. Why he was even called up from NXT is unknown because there were no plans whatsoever for him. Corbin found himself playing a good guy for the first time in 8 years on the main roster, but he just didn't fit into the creative plans of Triple H. It was an unfortunate side effect of having too many superstars on the main roster, and it felt like his second shot at the big time was completely squandered. Baron Corbin, a guy who many considered a WWE lifer, was axed after over a decade with the company. Unfortunately,
10
he was one of
years.
those guys who was negatively affected by the change in regime, but not everything is bad. For one, he seems to have established a good relationship with the superstars who walked through the locker room in the last decade. In 2024, more fans than ever acknowledge that Baron Corbin is a legitimate talent who worked hard to get where he was. There won't be any shortage of companies willing to sign him, and hopefully he will make the right decision if he does get back into wrestling. It would be a shame if his career ended after WWE, because it seems like he has a lot more to offer in the world of wrestling. He seems to be doing just fine after life in WWE, coming in second and first place in jiu-jitsu competitions and cooking a mean steak. If no other company picks him up, you best bet Food Network will. Unlike in the previous years, the releases we saw on the main roster, barring Odyssey Jones, didn't make it seem like WWE was firing them. For the most part, you can see that WWE simply had nothing for these superstars creatively and sent them packing in a more positive way, almost as if to tell them, "You're free, now show us what you got and prove us wrong."
Yeah, I think that's it for the video. That's pretty much it, man, because they look at their contract. Same thing with Donovic Dijak. When he got released, 2013? Wasn't it 2024? Early 2024? He got released as well. He get drafted. I thought it was 2020. Damn, time flies, bro. We're already in 2025. But I could have sworn that was 2024 as well, Dijak. But Dijak was that guy, bro. They missed the boat with this guy, bro. They should have kept him. Dijak? Come on, bro. They slept on that dude. But yeah, like I hope they do better outside of WWE. Fix their characters, come back better, stronger, catch their attention, light up the industry, blow up and all that good stuff, man. Like Cody did, Drew McIntyre. Who else? I'm probably missing some names. I'm tired. Ladies and gentlemen, Ring Out Podcast. This was every WWE superstar released in 2024. Where are they now? 2025? Who's next? I'm not wishing for nobody to lose their fucking job, but it's just like, yeah, I gotta step it up. But at the same time, it ain't their fault either, bro, because the company has so much talent. It's too much talent. Now they have 3 hours on Raw and SmackDown. That's more room for more talent to be on TV. So they have NXT as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Papo Jr., Ring Out Podcast. Aftermath post shows Raw on Tuesdays, SmackDown Saturdays. Aftermath post shows. And yeah, appreciate y'all. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's build a family here. 2025, I'm gonna work my ass off. And I appreciate y'all. And till then,
Goodbye. Mwah. And good night, bang.
peace.